Wanted to tell you too, I started this brand. These pants, I made them.
I was wondering about that because I seen it and that's fire. I like the idea of, I like the print, and I really like the little bit I saw on it because I first saw it, I want to see, almost a year ago.
Maybe, yeah. It was around a year ago that I was first posting about them.
Yeah. I saw you wearing some, and then I saw it again and I was like, I hope he created that.
Yeah, we doing this. Cause so like, this is the first ever Black Panther newspaper that I took and put on these pants.
The first one.
Yeah. I found a website of all of them. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
So, I did this, but then there was like other things that I put up, like me and J-Back were talking about that time in like 78 when like there was a blizzard in New Bedford.
Oh yeah, the blizzard of 78.
There's like a newspaper article about it that like me and J-Back were talking about putting on the sweater. One? I think so, yeah. Talking about putting on the sweater. And I just was like thinking about the brand, like, so the brand's called Paperweight, right? Cause it's like, it's a different play on the word paperweight. Obviously, a paperweight is no longer even a thing now, right? Like
what was a paperweight?
It was literally something to hold stacks of paper down, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. I had to ask what it was now.
Exactly. And then in like our culture, like weight has so many different meanings, right? From bad to like reality things, right? Like yo, that this holds a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? Or this weighs on me, or this, that, and the third. Like, oh, we moving weight. You know what I'm saying? All these little things in our culture. So the concept is really like the weight of like our history, and expressing it through like taking pieces of like newspaper articles and collaging them together to like, in a sense, and we put them on pants because in a sense it's like we're walking through this history. Like we're walking proof that this didn't stop us at this phase. You know what I mean? So that's the whole concept. And it's not just like specific to Black folks. Anybody who's gone through anything, it's like the concept, like the paperweight, like the weight of what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Neurodivergent. You could
all
be
that.
Immigrant. You
anything.
Could be elder.
Anything. All that. So then now, like what we're doing, like these are the first. When I first did them, all you can see is the front, right? Yeah. This was like, it's 25 cents. You see, it even says the year almost somewhere over here. But then in the back, I ended up writing paperweight.
That's fire.
And then continuing like the work, like.
So you did this yourself?
Yeah, hand did these.
You did it?
Yeah.
You did it?
Yeah.
Yo, that is so fire because, you know, that right there, that's my mom's print.
That's fire.
That's from the 80s. My brother found it and he took it out. And what I bug on, I didn't intentionally go and find myself in my parents' shoes. But here I am.
Yeah.
And to see that.
I was saying that the other day with my boy, like, we were talking about history and like things being naturally passed down, like you don't even realize it's happening to you.
Yeah.
Like I have a whole rap career, but like this is still able to exist as a part of a continuation of what my dad did, right? Like in a sense. And like I think it's because there's a part of like us seeing our parents doing something, and then there's like this individuality of who we are that triggers us to want to do that our own way. So it's like the identity from the parent and and like self-identity coming together for something. I think that's what, even me doing this, like the way I did these, my pops would never do this. Like it's like this is like one of ones. You know what I mean? Like it's messy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like laying the pants on the table, putting the screen on the table, like printing, moving it, printing. You know what I'm saying? Like I created like I'm using screens in way different ways than what my dad is, like the structured way of doing, like
efficiency. Like he's got an order coming in. He's not creating for himself as much.
He's on some efficiency shit.
He's also on some like contract for hire.
Exactly.
For hire. It's like you writing a verse for someone else.
You're
just trying to get through with the verse, get it done, and get it out. He's got 100 shirts. He's
exactly. Get so it's efficiency. It's like how perfect it is. Yeah. Whereas for me, it's like my business partner and I wanted to break out from that. We were like, yo, and it's just like it's very nippy out here with like printed companies. You know what I mean? And people just competing and what they're willing to do, cutthroat vibes. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And we don't want like that energy to be a part of our work. You know what I'm saying? So we were like, yo, let's partner with people that we know we're gonna consistently do their stuff. That's just it. Like we have this person, this person, this person. But then on top of that, our priority is always our stuff. We have a brand. We drop high quality pieces. Like we're gonna do like we're gonna get tailors to like get the pants like a specific fit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to put a penny as like the button.
Oh, that's a dope
idea. You know what I'm saying? Like different things like that.
Yeah. My suggestion for you with that kind of stuff, hold your ideas and don't even put them out to other people.
Nah, facts. I'm telling you because this is.
But even that because that's what.
I dig.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So but like it's just what I found is even people that love you and they won't even realize sometimes where an idea, like as artists we create and people as other artists we're absorbing shit and they absorb it and they don't even realize that they're absorbing it, and then you have people that are cutthroat,
absolutely,
like you just said, that will take it, and then you have other people that I've had it happen where they don't even remember.
I've experienced that here and I've experienced that in LA. In LA it's so like consistent that you learn to not share your ideas. And like it's not my nature. This goes back to like who we are as people, right? Like my nature is always to share, you know? And even through like as a kid seeing my dad like sharing ideas with people and seeing them run off with them. And my dad expressing himself like, yeah, we talked about this and this dude just went and took my idea. Bang, you know? Myself like, I'm talking about a concept for like a hook or something in front of somebody. 2 weeks later he's showing like everybody his new song and it's like, yo, like what? You know what I'm saying? Like but for me there's also a freedom in that because like if you're truly a creator, if somebody takes your idea, they took a moment of a life journey of creation. That the next pair that I make, you're not gonna figure that out. The next, and my boy told me that too. My boy Shami, shout out to Shami. He's like my partner with Safe. He told me one day because we was experiencing people stealing our flows, like you know. He was like, bro, what? He was like, bro, a true creator is like it's like almost like whatever. Like you got this flow that I did on this day of this year of my life. When it's like every day you come up with flows, Leaf. Like what are we talking about? You mad that he took one? So you know.
I don't think it's good to get mad, but it's also, you know, I think it's also, there's wisdom in protecting yourself in some kind of way.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like yesterday on a call I was listening to, it was on the music industry, and the person was talking about the difference between doing work for hire work and their own work. And work for hire, he was like, there's no royalties, you just get paid up front. And he says sometimes, despite the fact that it is that, it's a lot. Like when he said, the way it happens with syncing for companies, for like Disney and stuff like that, they'll reach out to him. And he said that those things happen based on relationships. It's not just like you just can just reach these people sometimes. Sometimes
it's fully relationships.
Like you have to have a relationship and build a relationship. I have someone that has built that relationship that you might partner with. But they'll like announce that they're looking for a song and they'll just give a description for it. We want a happy, upbeat, medium, sunny, and it doesn't even make sense to you really when you hear it. And he says, and they'll say they want a turnaround time of like 2 days for the thing, and he's like, and it's $20,000. So even though I'll never see royalties from that, and sometimes those films or those things have a significant number of plays and value that they make on their end, that it's like that attitude that you just expressed. It's the attitude that I'll make those all day for that 20,000 and just get that money up front when I need it. You know what I'm saying?
And then it goes back to that word freedom too, because you detach yourself from the work, there's a freedom of just expressing in their box. Like it's no longer me. Like they created a box and asked me to like paint the box, but it's not my house. It's not my room. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you hired me to paint this room, right? And I'm like, I don't like that he's changing the orange. Who cares? I'm gonna paint it, get paid, walk out, forget about it. It's the same thing, you know. And you gotta have some type of growth as an artist. Like you have to almost like have such a level of confidence to put that away. Like you have to have such a level of confidence to put your ego in, like, oh, I'm the person right in this, like this, that, and the third. It goes hand in hand. Like your confidence takes you to a place where like you could be like, all right, we're gonna put myself aside, do this work.
Yo, I have a list of questions I want to ask you, but you just in my head, I never thought about you as a writer. Are you available for people to write to?
Yeah.
And how would people reach out to you? Because like you're right. That's
emails. Just email caliphmusic@gmail or khalif.safe@gmail.
Yo, that
for real.
I think if people knew that, you're gonna get hit up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I started through shout out to homie P. Like got me the invitation to go be on the writing camp for Insecure the show, the HBO show.
Okay.
So this is like now that was probably like that's like a great moment, you know what I'm saying, in like career wise, because it really, it's like it was almost like, you know, like when there's a draft, like an NBA or NFL draft, there's like the training camps that the students go to they'll play with the Celtics, they'll play with this, that, and the third, right?
Scouts are Washington.
Yeah, like just which one, who am I gonna get drafted with? But you get to practice with the players, like the NBA players, right? That's what it felt like for me. It was like, all right, cool, this is my chance to like show why I'm coming out of high school, in a sense. Like, why is this dude who's not signed that has Grammys in this room? How are you not signed but with Grammys? Like, that's kind of equivalent to the guy coming out of high school. How are you on the way to the league without college?
Yeah, because everyone says that in order to get a Grammy, you have to have, like,
just the notoriety, the levels of, like, you know what I'm saying?
And there's a lot of people that say it's an industry thing.
It is. It is.
And if you don't have the industry
backing you,
and if they don't pay to get that slot, like that's the
yeah, all these things exist, and what you gotta kind of know is like it goes back to that word you said about relationships, right? You build these relationships with certain people, and it's almost like as they grow, your circle grows. As you grow, their circle grows. It's like now that like in a sense, like people may not see it like this, but the way I look at the Grammy for me is like I tell all the homies that I'm doing stuff with, like, yo, like use that to charge up. And even for yourself, like if like somebody's organizing something and I'm pulling up as the artist and there's a Grammy Award winning artist pulling up, use that to talk your event up, so that sponsors want to give you more, so that this, that, and the third. For me, that's the greatest grace that I have with that, is be able to tell like the homies, like, yo, this is a trophy that I got, put your hand on it and say it's yours too. That way we could win collectively. Like, you know what I'm saying? And
how has that helped you?
It's helped me access. It's like you don't second guess it anymore. Like even without, in a sense, it's like the label is what, or your connection, your management, or this, that, and the third is what gets you in the door, right? Now, like, I know that there's a level of confidence that like if you brought me to the door, I'm getting inside. That's the difference. Like I might have knocked on the door, spit a verse from outside the door, and they're like, yo, he's nice. Now it's like, oh, he's nice. And then now it's less of a I gotta prove it and more of a I gotta confirm it, which is even iller. It's more fun. For me, it's more of like I walk in a room.
People are willing to listen.
Exactly.
Whereas before you're trying to get ears to slow down to listen.
Exactly. So now, even like, you know, these things like influence the way you see yourself as an artist, right? But there's healthy and unhealthy ways, right? You could be like, oh, I'm a Grammy, like, you know what I'm saying? Or you could be like, yo, like, this is like the equivalent to like a doctorate in music. I've achieved that level.
Yeah.
Like,
Mastery.
Exactly.
High mastery.
So now, And the greatest thing for me, man, the biggest way that it's helped me is knowing that like speaking my truth got me there. It helped me hold on to that more in everything I do.
Yeah. Word.
You know what I mean?
The verses that were on that album were the stuff that, knowing you for a while, I remember knowing you for a while before you even opened up about what your reality was to me as a friend.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in the music yet, but it was somewhat subtly in the music.
It was snuck in. It's the reason why. It's funny because like your struggle make your strength so much iller, right? Because I had to hide what I was really saying, I had to get that lyrical. So like it was almost a necessity. Being lyrical or being like that deep of a writer was a necessity to express myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I had to create code for only the people that I want to understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's what made the pen game go up in a sense. And then now this album was focused on DACA. The point of the album was to get the attention of the politicians. What type of music do they listen to? Oh, they listen to classical music. They listen to big band jazz. Okay, cool. Let's put these stories that they may be trying to ignore in their art form and invite them to these spaces to digest it. And invite them to these spaces and make it impossible for them to ignore the stories. The goal of this, the Grammys in a sense was almost a part of the goal of spreading this. You know what I mean? That's what we talked about in those sessions.
Beginning, you had a vision of it.
Yeah, like that's what I can't even credit myself for the vision. When they approached me, that's what it was. They were like, yo, like, we want this story to go far. Like, we want your representation to really be felt in the world musically. And they were searching for immigrant artists, and they like pinpointed me as like, yo, you're probably gonna be the main guy we work with because you, in a sense, like I'm following this career. This is really a thing for me. It's not like a side thing, you know. There were a handful of us that like instrumentalists, like couple vocalists, and then myself as a singer-songwriter, singer-rapper-songwriter. Like there were a handful of us vocalists that were like pursuing music. And in that handful, I was really the one that was like, this is my number one thing. Like I don't have like this crazy career on the side that I can just be like, I'm done. Nah, that in a sense, the careers on the side are supplementing this, you know? So them realizing that, they were like, yo, we're gonna make you kind of like a face of this. Which in a sense, like,
where were you at in this time? Like, this was like 3 or 4 years ago?
Bro, the worst time. Like, my papers expired. My cousin's papers expired. We both are the sole people in our apartment. We can't work. And, like, we're scrapping for, like, this is real life. Like, So I was in Boston. I was working for a tech company, doing my music. I was living next to Fenway. I was living in Fenway, actually, not next to it. I was walking to you came to the crib, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was like a height in like me as a person. Like, I'm like, yo, I finally got my papers. Within a year, we up. Like, it was like one of those first confirmations, like, yo, my work ethic really is real. You know what I'm saying? This thing was blocking me for real. Bang, I'm up. Then it's like, a couple years go by, life is good. I go from there to the crib with A-Dot, a big spot, you know what I'm saying? And then, bang, immigration hits. Trump is in office. My DACA is expiring, and they're talking about rescinding DACA. So everything about DACA was on pause. So a renewal that takes 2 months took 8 months, a year. If I'm being honest, like really a year, right? Same for me and my cousin. So we lose our ability to work. My savings dwindling. He's like, we're just scrapping. We end up having a homie move in to help, you know what I'm saying? We turned a 2-bedroom apartment into a 4-bedroom apartment. Got 2 other dudes in there to help. Like a winter without heat type, you know what I'm saying? Couldn't afford electricity, but by the grace of God, the people upstairs, there was an electrical problem. One outlet blessed us and they was cool with it. Like, just like things like that. That's where I was. And I promise you, Eric, I was having sessions, but
This is in New Bedford.
Yeah, I'm telling the homies, I'm telling Cousin Tukey, telling Doc, I'm telling like J-Back, I'm telling my peoples, like, yo, I might stop rapping, bro. Like I can't afford to focus on that right now. Like I gotta get a job. I gotta get an under the table job. Actually, when I first got back my paper was when you helped me get that job. I don't know if you remember. You helped me get the community job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was like the end of that. In those beginning times, like there was no answers. So I'm like, yo, I gotta stop. Like this music thing, it's already tough enough as an artist, right? Or I should say, I'm saying it backwards. It's tough enough as an immigrant. And then you add the layer of like the self-inflicted struggles of being an artist. And it's like, I'm saying here like, bro, I'm tweaking. I'm spending like, these 8 hours I'm spending trying to think of the greatest song, I could have worked. I could have this, I could have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't got excuses. Like, I'm letting this music get in my way. I'm going to stop making music. And I swear that week when I was telling the homies I'm trying to figure out a job, like, switch my focus, bro, I got the DM about this whole situation, which ended up being with these Grammys and this album. So it was during the worst time, bro. You know what I'm saying? But to bring it back, the reason why I brought this up was because we were talking about the Grammys in relation to the writing camp.
And go ahead, my fault.
Nah, what was you gonna say?
I was just curious, in that point in time when you was about to give up, do you feel like because what I find interesting, there's a book, The Alchemist, have you ever read it? Or
Nah, I haven't, no.
There's a book that
I know it's a book mad people recommend me to read.
It's a beautiful story, and I feel like it's the story of all of us in some kind of way. And one of the things that comes up in that story, this spirituality of like sometimes things don't go the way you're wanting it to go. The warrior's journey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To test or to grow something in us, to prepare us. I don't know what it is. But my question is like at that point where everything's falling down, your finances are tough, your living situation is overcrowded, electricity's off, you're dealing with immigration, so you're not able to tap into the resources that other people have. Or you may feel like maybe there's probably resources that you could have tapped into, but I just imagine you might not even reach out.
I'm not even there mentally to reach out.
So during that point, what role did faith have in it, and was spirituality or questioning? Did you have question? Were you questioning you were questioning your gift? Yeah. Which is something that is, in my opinion, from conversations we had, and you've expressed a spiritual gift. Yeah. You talk about that in your songs. You talk about like asking God, and He told me to rap for Him. Yeah. So it's ill that you bring those lyrics, but that's pretty much what I was talking about. Is that exact verse? How I come in, I'm like, been through depression, been suicidal, leave a Muslim that done been through the Bible, right? Like that's like the core of that. Right? It's like, yo, I was going through all these things mentally, and I remember one day I was really down. It was like one of my worst days. I'm just in the room. You just in the room. You're like in the room, within a room, in a room. And I'm just sitting there, and I just told myself, I was like, yo, you gonna either get up and make a song right now to save yourself, or you're gonna fall deeper in this hole. Like this moment right here. It's funny how these things like happen over time, but there's these pinnacle one moment when like something happens, or you get this train that starts. It's almost like you're at the edge and you're like, yeah, like you could fall if you want, or you could try to jump and hope that your wings work. You know what I'm saying? And I did a song. That song I could say saved my life. Like that song, the moment of doing that song, because what I was able to say in the song, and to hear it back and play it for the homies, it was almost like, how can I say this? It was like Jordan flu game. I do a lot of sports references, right? Yeah. It's Jordan flu game. It's like, man, this is the one game I'm supposed to not win, but somehow I got it out. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in this one mental space where like it's the total opposite of where I'm at when I'm at peak creating. So in a sense, a new muscle came of being able to create from sorrow. I never was good at that. Like my creativity was a result of good mood, a result of feeling like fully myself. Confidence.
Because it's almost like, as an artist, people put me in this leadership position. Is it something that I want? Not necessarily, but does it come with what I'm talking about and what I point out? Yes, right? So in that being a thing, I can't feel like I'm leading you creatively if I'm not in a good place. So when I'm naturally in a good place, I could speak. It's almost like I got nerve to try to give someone advice if I'm not taking heed to it myself.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I use my own advice to get myself to a better place. And then from there, it's almost like a recollection of like the lessons in art that's new for someone else. You know what I mean? So, man, that moment was it, bro. It was just like those two moments: the moment of making the song and being like, "Yo, I can make this song. I can still be creative. Like it's cool. Like I still got this muscle. Like I haven't fully died out yet. You know what I mean? Started to go work with America a little bit more, and then within that month of like working with America for a little bit, trying to keep the hope with the music going. Doug Davis, shout out Doug Davis. To his own merit, always a top 3. I'm lying. Always the #1 entertainment lawyer when on any list, at least from what I've seen. I say that because he's also Clive Davis's son, but like you know, he deserves his own merit as himself. DMs me.
How did he find you?
So this goes back to the work, the United We Dream work I was doing when I was going to DC and protesting, performing out there. Like really speaking about the stuff. Like I guess they reached out to those organizations and were like, yo, who are some artists? It's funny because they had hit me. They were like, yeah, Spotify's doing this thing for like immigrant artists. Like they told us to give them, and we gave them your name. I didn't think it was this. I guess Spotify was an early sponsor of this project. Yeah. But yeah, it was just a blessing, man. Like if you think about it, like that moment, they found me through my work. Like they found me through like me taking a leap while not having my papers to go protest for them.
And what's really dope about that, from my perspective from the outside, and I could be wrong memory-wise, but I remember a period of the time before you were even letting people know your reality, and that from conversations with you, like doing certain things was not like you had. There's a different, me going to anti-war protest, everyone could get arrested. There's a different consequence that I face as somebody that was born here that you would have faced at that time.
Yeah.
So this is something that, like, for you didn't even have an opportunity to do that, but because of the situation was so dire, you actually
had to go do it.
With little money, little resources, heading to DC.
Yeah, we had to do it.
It was a hustle.
It was like
to get there.
It was a hustle to get there. Shout out to the organization that covered the flights, but like we had to figure it out once we got there, and like, you know what I mean, they gave us like an area we could go stay at, like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm like not working. I'm like taking a leap. This is just a chance, you know? And there's this one girl, like, she like took heed. It's funny like how these things connect, right? This one girl who like messed with my music, she liked my music because she was also an immigrant from Miami. Literally no connection, like literally hit me up on some Leo, I like this music, like type stuff, like off the immigration vibes. She posted about it.
Was this around Green Faces time? Or?
Yeah. She posted, no, Green Faces was after. This is all this, Green Faces was in the airwaves, it wasn't out. Cause you know there's 2 eras of Green Faces. There's I'm performing Green Faces, people know about it, and then there's Green Faces is out. So this was like around Life of the Party. Green Face, Life of the Party is really the song that like is that time, right? Still around the time I'm at my cousin's crib dealing with all this. She takes heed to this, she posts something about it. I ask her if she's going. She sends it to me like, yo, you should go to this. And I'm like, yo, are you going? She's like, I'm thinking about it. She was like, but like, you should go. Like, you make music about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so her connected me to that. They connected me to this guy, who then, it turns out, like, changes my career's trajectory, right? When I was about to say I'm good, it was like, God was like, yo, you're bugging. I did not make you to be this person for you to waste this, like, purpose of yours, you know? And then that's when things all changed. Like, that's when the trips to LA started happening. the back and forths to Miami. Like it started with creating the album, and then like doing the press stuff, the trips to New York, the CNN thing, and then this, that, and the third. Like you know, like labels finding interest. Like my homies getting me like a good distribution deal, and just like rolls out from there. You know, so that's a pinnacle time. It's a real pinnacle time. Like those years are crazy. Yo, I was trying to figure life out. But it was figured out already in a sense. Like I just had to play my role. Just make tunes, man. Yeah, that's what it is, man.
It makes me wonder, like what do you feel like was the reason why it was what did you learn in that? What do you think, what skills do you walk away from? What experiences, what reserve that it leaves you with, like in terms of like sometimes something that you've gone through can help you to go through anything else or something like that. What do you feel like that period of time? I'm kind of like I'm stuttering because I feel uncomfortable saying some things around spiritual beliefs, but my spiritual belief is that like things happen for a reason, like a classroom for you to grow a certain part of your character or to get out of a character. What do you think that if you feel like similarly, is there anything from that period of time you think that may have been a reason for that to happen like that?
It showed me how much I could handle a fight or flight situation. It showed me like back against the wall, like you actually execute. Like that's what it showed me. It confirmed that. And it's funny, like I've always had that even in my creativity, like if I gotta give someone a verse, like I'm waiting till the last day before they need that verse to do the verse, because somehow that pressure pushes it out of me, right? Creatively, but I had a real life version of that. It was like, yo, you didn't put yourself here. It's you're here. Now what? You know what I mean? Like now what moments are less, I don't have like an emotional reaction to that as much anymore. It's more like, oh, this is it. Cause like it happened again. Like you lose, like just recently, like actually like for like another like 6 months this time around it happened. But because of that, like there's a whole different outcome. Like I prepared myself, you know what I mean? Like I know how to handle that. You know what I mean? Like what does it look like to not have my papers and have to live life? You know what I'm saying? What do I got to do? How do I figure that out? You know what I'm saying? And with that growth of the people in your life that are a blessing as well, that understand the story. Now that it's happened and everybody knows the reality of my struggle, like that's when people who are around me, when they see me getting back in that hole, they like, it's like almost an open problem rather than a closed problem. So then my community around me is able to help me more now. They're like, oh, Abdul, this is happening now. Okay. Yo, let's help him this way, let's help him this way, let's help him this way. Because we know that like with all these things, excellence can happen. So it allows your community to help you because now it's like an open-ended thing, but also you maintain things a lot more. Like me personally, I was like last time was 8 months to a year, this time was 6 months.
And when you're saying the time period, you're saying periods where you were able to work, where everything is
everything's on block. Because and it's always during like presidential transitions, like because it's like they're just trying to like say how they feel about this, you know what I'm saying? Like and I mean the last like Trump and his folks, their whole thing was to block it, but at the very end it was like, nah, we're not blocking it. And like the album we did was a part of that fight. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, like that's a reality to that I have to be proud of too. You know what I'm saying? Like so now coming into life, into this next phase of life where like it might happen again, you know what I'm saying? Like I just got out of that in I think July, something like that. But I was fine this time, you know what I'm saying? Like I set my crib up already, just in case. Like I knew the rent situation, how to resolve it. I knew how to pay my bills, even with this struggle, you know what I'm saying? With more preparation. So I think it's like, it's really, well, it taught me preparation. If there's a one word answer to what you asked, preparation. You know what I'm saying, is what it taught me. So yeah, I mean, it's a, life's interesting. You go through things that you think it's like your world is ending. And perhaps it is. Your world as you know it is ending. You know what I'm saying? The new world is a good thing though. You know, like we're so used to how we're like there's seasons of how we think. There's seasons of where we are mentally, right? Like think about like throughout your life the times when you're in a relationship you think a certain way. You're outside that relationship you think a certain way. You have a new business relationship you have to think a certain way. Like all these phases and these things that go in and out of who we are as people affect the way we think. And it's up to us to hold on to the good skills that come from it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've been trying to do, man.
As you were saying that and how you ended it, it made me think about the trauma of certain things going certain ways. Like for myself, one of the things I recently realized is that sometimes I want to retrain my thinking in the way I say things, because I find that sometimes I look at things and I think about all the things that could go wrong while I'm thinking about the ideas, and it's part of my creative process, but at some level I'm thinking it's the result of just like negative experiences that have happened, and I think it's wise to learn from negative experiences, but it also, for myself, it's been something that I've been really I've identified a few times in the last year, that moments where I'm like, you're not allowing yourself to have joy, number one, and you're not allowing yourself to grow as far as you could, because you're thinking what if instead of in a way that's like a limited what if, like, and you're trying to protect from it. Are there things from your experience that you feel like, and you know, have you noticed anything for yourself that is like something like similar, where the positive is the preparation and the you know, preparing?
The negative is when you go through a negative thing, it's like a hole, right? Like it's like I know the reality of deep holes. Like I know that, right? So I guess like the fear of going back to a place like that is realer, but it's all how you manifest it, right? It's like because that fear is so real, it becomes motivation to not go back there, right? Not to turn everything to a positive, but that's kind of what it is. But there's that, but then there's also just like accepting. The hardest thing to accept as a man is that you're not in total control of your own life. And because of the immigration, like the whole thing with immigration, even with having DACA or when I don't have it, like I have accepted that like I'm not in total control of my own life, and that's kind of like motivating me to gain that. You know what I mean? Because in order to like be able to go towards a goal, you have to know where you're coming from, right? So in a sense, like I'm every day waking up, walking around with everybody who like, yeah, they're good. They are in control of their lives. Like they have this documentation. It's never been questioned. They're in control. Like tomorrow, someone can't just come and knock on the door and be like, yo. That's an actual real life possibility for me. You know, like tomorrow, God forbid, like the government decides, you know what, we're gonna just like get rid of DACA, and just like everyone that was under that, we realized they were breaking the law the whole time. Let's get rid of these guys. Bang, knocking on the door, I'm up. You know what I'm saying? So knowing that that's a reality is like a real thing for me. You know, and like I know that. You know what I'm saying? And it used to be like, I used to look at that as like a pain that I didn't want to look at, but I stare it in the face now, you know? I think that's something that, and in that moment of staring it in the face, it's not fun. It's never fun, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it humbles me even more, you know? But in reality, it's like a painful thought, you know what I'm saying? To know that you're walking around with folks that like, don't know that they're like ahead of you in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? But it's balanced. You have ways that you're ahead of them. You know what I mean? But that's a scary thing to know.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? The depths of what the possibilities could be. Sometimes, and for me, of looking at like the darkness that exists, it's scary. And the thing I think about sometimes, especially in the last year, for me, is how, and it's different, but I imagine there could be aspects that are the same. It's like seeing the the dark and also feeling the threat of what it could be towards you, it creates like anxieties and stuff like that, and all these for me it created anxieties, and the realization I had was that if you look at the ugly too long, or like whatever's negative too long, even when you're looking at the positive,
that's all
it's always there.
Yeah, that's something I had to like. I'm actively training my mind to rewire, right? I don't think it's like a flip. It's like it's something you keep grinding, right?
Yeah, push-ups.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because once you look at the ugly of things, right, you almost like analyze things from the problem perspective rather than the solution perspective, right? So it's funny because this is something like that I'm proud of with myself, like with myself and others. Like I'm always that like, yeah, but we could do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and at times it's annoying. Like I'm the annoying positive guy.
I don't know. I mean, people could feel that way, but what's crazy about you saying that is, like, as you're saying that, I'm reflecting as someone that knows you. You are like that, and what's crazy about it is that, and while I'm grateful that you said that, like the thing that was important was that in opening up about what that period did to you, is that your personality type always seems happy when I seen you. You know what I'm saying? For the most part. And I was around you in points and times where you were in deep stress.
That's the only, because this is it, right? I don't like when people put their stresses on me. And I think it's because I, growing up, trained myself not to put stresses on people. Like not to like give you this pain, right? Because like, it was almost like it had to be a secret because of the pain, like, you know, the immigration thing. It was like taboo to talk about because like someone could call and you get deported, right? So one, that layer exists of it having to be held back, which then allowed me to train myself to hold back struggles from others because like I don't want to dampen your day by being like, yo, like you pick me up, we're going to just grab a bite and make music, right? Like, cool, like, I'm gonna just get right, you know what I'm saying? When we link, like, it's a double-edged sword. One, I'm not putting that on you, but you offer me a break. You offer me a break from this darkness. Like, you know how you say you stare at the darkness so much? That's all you see? I think I wasn't trying to look at the darkness, but the darkness was put in front of me so much that it almost had a reverse effect. Like, I'm only seeing the shining small light. The small light. In this big room of darkness, this small light. And I'm like, yo, like, that's facts though, that's real. You know what I mean? And I just keep going to that wall, like, you know what I'm saying, punching that crack, like, yo, just open it up, right? Alright, cool. And then like, as you crack the door and the light comes in more and more, as you crack this thing and the light comes in more and more, you start seeing that, like, you credit yourself for believing in that small light.